see your rage, because you're not like me, like someone who's just watching. You've done this. You've hosted these things before, and you could see that you were seething with rage because these people weren't just not playing fair, they were deliberately trying to kill off one of those two candidates.
Absolutely. It was a 3-on-1 pile-on. It was an ambush, and they went in there prepared to do it. Looking back on it now, going back and, we pulled the transcript, and you read, all the questions and how it worked. And every single time Trump tried to bridge away or didn't answer the question and tried to answer either his own sort of thoughts, offer his own thoughts on something, or even meander on defending himself against one of her attacks, they would bring him back to their difficult question. Like, the question was this. Every time she did that, she got a pass. They never once did that to her. Every time he said something they didn't think was true, they fact-checked him. 9 times out of 10, their fact-check was BS. It was made up. It was a lie, or it was an opinion, which had no place at a presidential debate. How many fact-checks did they do of her? None. Her lies were all over the place. She started the debate by saying, you're going to hear a lot of lies tonight. And indeed, that was true, but they were from her. And then, as if on cue, in order to help ABC News in its attempt to stick the stiletto in Trump's jugular, you get CNN's Daniel Dale, the official fact checker of CNN, who looks at this debate and says, he lied 33 times. Kamala Harris, 1. That's what the Republicans are up against in this country. I mean, just off the top of my head, she lied in the way she kept saying he's responsible for 2025, even though he explicitly said that he has nothing to do with it. She lied by calling these Trump abortion bans, in which he repeatedly said he doesn't want the federal government to have anything to do with this. This is a states' rights issue. She knows he has nothing to do with the abortion bans in state by state. The good people on both sides lie about Charlottesville, the bloodbath lie. There were so many that you, as a moderator, if you wanted to get into the fact-checking business, you absolutely could have called her out on. That, in my view, would have been inappropriate at a presidential debate. But if you're going to do it to him, you have an obligation to do it to her. And as I mentioned, those fact checks themselves, erroneous, opinion-laden, and totally out of place. And when it's on one side, now it's election interference. Now you actually do look like a partisan hack. The only silver lining to any of this is that I have to believe that the viewers at home watching this understood, if not explicitly, then on a gut level, this is unfair. I can sense when I'm watching an unfair fight, when I watch a prize fight between two boxers and the ref keeps stepping in when the one starts pummeling the other, but not when it goes the other way. I know something. I know one person is in an inferior position when it comes to a fair contest, and I naturally start to feel some empathy for that person, and actually at the same time, disdain for the two pummelers, or in this case, the 3 of them. And so ultimately today, I feel like they could have gone so far that the backlash will be against them and Kamala Harris as opposed to against Donald Trump, who took the beating.
Yeah, I also think that for a lot of people who sit and watch it live, I'm not entirely sure that everyone sits there forever, because these things, I don't know why they're on so late. I know sort of prime time works differently in different countries, but it feels like this thing keeps going so late. And I reckon if you were watching the first 30 minutes, I just couldn't help but think that this wasn't just the Team Blue world versus the Team Red world. I think there was a little bit of an idea where, like, maybe just as a bloke, but I was watching the whole passive-aggressive facial nonsense from her, which was all, yes, he's so crazy, he's so unbelievable, oh, really, all of that. It was like, man, this is not divorce court. Okay, I get it, you don't like him, but the idea that he's just such a supercilious figure, that why is he even here? Well, he's here because he actually won a nomination, not like you, where you and your mates put Biden, out of his misery, and then you slid in and the media's pretended that you're not who you are.
Oh, I'm dying to talk to you about this more, because in this contest, it's boiled down to male versus female. It's not to say Trump doesn't have millions of female supporters, and she has millions of male supporters too. But at the edges, like, what's making the difference in this race are the men are going overwhelmingly for Trump by some 15-point margin, and women are going by a 10-point margin for Kamala Harris. And I was looking at this thinking, what man is looking at that saying, yeah, I might sit it out on election day. I might be busy, might be too busy to get to the polls. I feel like most men are watching that saying, I can't wait to vote against her. What man watching this is my favorite.
Oh, please.
Right? Like,
yeah.
I feel like most men have had their balls busted by this kind of a very annoying woman, and probably now more than ever can't wait to rush to the polls and vote against her. You tell me.